start a little bit just talking about my background and my experience. So as Ahmed said, I am the program coordinator here at Youth in Transition, which is a nonprofit in Fredericton that runs Chrysalis House, which provides long-term transitional housing for homeless and at-risk youth ages 16 to 19. I've been here at Youth in Transition for 13 years now. So I've actually worked in all sorts of different capacities within the organization. But now as program coordinator, one of the key aspects of my job is to coordinate our two major fundraisers that we do each year. We do 12 Hours for Homeless Youth, which happens in the fall. And then in the winter, we co-host Coldest Night of the Year with the John Howard Society of Fredericton. And both of those events rely on volunteers in a huge way to make sure that that both events happen. We wouldn't be able to do it without having some great volunteers. So through that, I've done everything from volunteer recruitment to coordinating the volunteers and providing that communication with all those people. And I've also helped set up volunteers to come and actually work in the house as well, just more of the day-to-day work that we do with the youth that we serve. Before then, I have volunteered for a number of different organizations and agencies, starting right from high school. So it's great to get involved. It's a way to get connected with your community and to give back. And I'm about to show you why that's super worthwhile. So I guess I'll just start with the slides. First thing, what is volunteering? So the definition is to freely offer to do something. And so there's no pay involved. You're just out of the kindness of your heart wanting to help somebody else out. According to Wikipedia, says that it's generally considered an altruistic activity where an individual or group freely gives time to benefit another person, group, or organization. Volunteering is also renowned for skill development and is often intended to promote goodness or to improve human quality of life. So, as I said, it's that giving back and to sort of help the greater good. And I found this great quote by Winston Churchill. It says, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." And this is very true, especially when you look at volunteering and why it's important to give back. So why should anyone volunteer? What's the purpose of it? What are you going to get from it? So you really want to consider opportunities that will be personally fulfilling to you. So matching what you're looking to get out of the experience with an opportunity that can help provide that for you. A good thing is to look for volunteer opportunities that are in line with your personal goals and passions. So what are your interests? What are those things that you're really passionate about, and those people or places or things that you really want to be involved with? And really important question is, why do I want to volunteer? And sorry, I just realized that I left some of my notes behind me. So identifying why you want to give back will help you to look for the opportunities that bring the most benefits to the volunteering and the most of your time and your skills. So think about your interests. Think about your preferences are. So like I said, what causes am I passionate about? What population do I want to work with? Do you want to work with youth? Do you really love animals and want to get involved with something to do with animals? Are you interested in working with elderly people? So there's all sorts of different populations to help find that right fit for you. What settings do I prefer to work in? So are you someone who would rather do one-on-one work, something where you can just go and work from home and do something that way? Would you love to be part of a bigger team and have a lot of other people involved? So looking at where you fit within that spectrum and what you would prefer to be doing. How much time can I give? This is crucial, especially as someone who organizes volunteers. That can be really challenging because sometimes people only have a very limited time that they're able to give to your organization, which is fine, but it's matching up that, the time that they're able to give with a task that, can utilize that time most effectively. And what do I like to do? So again, finding something that you are passionate about, that you are interested in. There's all sorts of different volunteer opportunities. Here are some of the more popular ones. So mentoring events, which is something that I coordinate here at the house. Sometimes it's administration. So my parents, for example, they both volunteer for hospice, and my stepmom goes in and she stuffs envelopes for when they send out their tax receipts. It's not a huge job. It's not really glamorous, but she provides that extra administration support so that the people in the office can devote their time and energy to bigger issues. And it's been a huge help. I guess she had broken her arm a couple winters ago and wasn't able to go in and help with the volunteering by stuffing envelopes and doing all that sort of stuff. And when she was finally healed and back in the office staff couldn't tell her enough how much she was missed, both just from herself and her personality, but also the amount of work that they had and realizing how much work actually went into it with her. So that's another area. Support listening or counseling. There's another nonprofit here in Fredericton called Sexual Violence New Brunswick, and they have a crisis line for people who have experienced sexual assault or sexual violence. And they rely on volunteers to run that crisis line. CHIMO Helpline is also a local helpline here in Fredericton, and same idea. They provide that support through volunteers, where they train their volunteers on how to take the calls, and then they put them on the line. Teaching or support learning. So there's all sorts of avenues, especially when you get to post-secondary, where people are looking for tutors or help with certain courses. Even in the high schools too, I think they have some peer resources for tutoring. There's volunteer opportunities for coaching, outdoor activities and sports. The YMCA is another organization that relies on a lot of volunteers to help put their activities on. Like my husband actually coached basketball for the YMCA for 3 or 4 years, and that was a volunteer position. But it was something that he was interested in. He had some coaching experience and decided to give back. And then arts, and this can come in many different forms. So there might be volunteer opportunities more related to actual crafts, music, drama, or visual arts. So all sorts of different avenues to explore, hopefully one that matches with what you're passionate about and where your skill set is. So what are some of the benefits of volunteering? Because we talked about this whole giving back, but really what comes of that? And then you can really break it down into 5 different areas that you can see the benefits from volunteering. There's all sorts of benefits for the self. When you volunteer, all that you get out of it, because there's a whole lot of that, that's going to be the last one that I'm really going to touch on. But we can look at it from an organizational standpoint. What's the benefit to organizations to have volunteers? Same can be said for businesses. But I also want to touch briefly on how volunteering can actually impact our neighborhoods and society as a whole. So from an organizational standpoint, volunteering really helps to increase capacity. So that means we're able to do a lot more with our resources by having those extra people who can lend a hand, like my stepmom stuffing envelopes, or having the people to put on a major event. It gives us access to skills. So everybody has different skills that they're able to bring to the table, and by enlisting people outside of your organization, you can tap into skill sets that you might not have within the organization to really help with whatever it is that you're utilizing those volunteers for. It also helps with community engagement. So by being directly involved face-to-face with those in your community, and it allows you to really let the community know who your organization is, what you're all about, and what you do, and sort of spread your message that much further by inviting the community to get involved with you. And it also increases diversity. Again, bringing in different people, different skill sets that you might not otherwise have within your organization. Those aspects are also kind of similar in terms of businesses as well. So attracting talent. So it's not uncommon that, businesses have had people volunteer with them, and that may translate into a job opportunity for those people. You're getting people in, you're seeing what skills they have, how they work within the team. And so that can be a really big draw for businesses as well. It helps with their workforce development. So just, you get to train those people that you want to come into your business as well. Employee engagement. So there's a lot of businesses that offer incentives to their employees to be able to go out in the community and volunteer with different organizations and to give back. And a lot of employees that have that available to them within their job, they cite that as a really big draw and a really big benefit to working for that business. UPS is a business here in Fredericton that they do so much within the community. They really promote that within their staff to get involved and to give back. So it's really, really awesome to see, and their employees really list that as a perk to being part of an organization that gives back. And then stakeholder relations. So again, it's that building that relationship between your business and your customer base. It's, building that relationship between your business and, the supports within that business and your other partner agencies. So it's yeah, it's building that community. So then we want to look at the benefits of volunteering within our neighborhoods. It builds resiliency. The more people in a neighborhood that are involved in giving back and participating in what's happening within their neighborhood, the more likely that they're able to problem solve and move forward sort of on their own without a lot of outside input. So it's building up that resiliency within the neighborhood. It builds leadership. So people, you start recognizing those leaders within your area, and knowing, what skills they have and how they might be able to help out. It also builds cohesion and social inclusion. So again, it's that sense of community. It's bringing people together, that we're all working for the greater good, to benefit everyone around us, not just for ourselves. And then you want to take that and just blow it up into looking at society at large. It's that citizen engagement, informed public policy, because the more involved you are with what's going on in your community, the more you know about what's happening, and the more you're able to speak to different issues and have a better sense of what those issues are and what your stance is, and which in turn leads to enhanced democracy. So that's just on a global scale there, looking at how volunteering can be a huge benefit. Let's look at ourselves. What are we actually gaining from an experience when we look at volunteering? So there's 4 areas that it can really be broken down into: health, purpose, stress, and engagement. The first I'll talk about is health. So people who volunteer will generally feel better overall. So looking at physically, mentally, and emotionally. There's been a number of different studies done looking at the impacts of volunteering, and pretty much every study that I was able to find consistently found that over 90% of volunteers that responded feel happier. And which, that alone, who doesn't want to feel better about themselves, right? So that's a huge plus. Generally, people feel better, they feel healthier as well, which is interesting, and better sleep. So I'm thinking that means I need to increase my volunteering because I need to start sleeping better. But yeah, so there are all sorts of health benefits that way. Purpose. So it's feeling that deeper connection to communities and to others, which increases that sense of belonging. You feel like you're doing good. You're doing something for others. It helps connect us all. It connects you to those people and to those causes. Volunteering actually helps to manage and lower stress levels, which is a great plus. It releases endorphins in our brain, so like those natural painkillers. And by lowering stress, that also increases our health, which is great. And then lastly, engagement. So volunteers are more informed, engaged, and involved in managing their health. It allows you to meet new people and make new friends, and it gives an opportunity to have fun and to socialize with others. So all great benefits, but there's more. So you also have the added benefit of personal development. So when you're volunteering, you can improve your communication skills, improve teamwork skills, and time management. It also gives you an opportunity to discover new skills or to test out different career options. Because sometimes you might think you're interested in a particular line of work or a particular field, and but you're not too sure, and volunteering gives you that opportunity. And I'll just say as a personal note for myself, working in a residential setting with youth is not something I ever saw myself doing. I always knew that I wanted to work with youth, but I didn't think that working in a residential setting was how I wanted to do that. But as part of my school program, we had a placement that had to, one of our placements was in a residential setting, which is actually how I came to Youth in Transition. So a placement is not the same exactly as volunteering, but it is, you're working for free. So it gives you that opportunity to see what the job is actually like. And for me, that was a huge benefit, was testing out that career option, because here I am 13 years later, doing something that I never thought that I would be doing. So that was kind of a great opportunity for me. Another added benefit for your personal development is you're able to jumpstart your resume, or to, put on your university or college applications, or when you're applying for scholarships. Especially if it's one of your first jobs, it's really hard when you don't have a lot of previous work experience to make your resume, because it's hard to think what to put on there. But volunteering can play a huge role in that, because it shows that you are able to work with others, and there's so many other skills that you develop when you're volunteering, and employers look for those sorts of things as well. And it also, you can build professional networks and create those lasting and meaningful relationships with like-minded people. So it really goes beyond just the work that you're doing in the here and now, but it allows you that opportunity to take that relationship further. For example, Ahmad, I met as a volunteer for 12 Hours for Homeless Youth. And here we are, almost 3 years later?
Yeah, 3 years later, that's right.
Yeah. So, building those relationships, which is fantastic. So where can you volunteer? I've listed a few options for some common places that look for volunteers. So local nonprofit organizations, I listed a few of them earlier that are local here. There's youth organizations, animal shelters, soup kitchens, retirement homes. There's also sometimes volunteer opportunities within national parks and museums. So it's really just, looking for what's available. Do people need volunteers? Which I know can be challenging right now, especially with COVID-19. But I try to keep things general, because I don't want to speak for those other agencies, because they still need to run. But yeah, so able look at the various options that are out there. A lot of them you can find online, but then there's also Volunteer Greater Fredericton, which is a fantastic website that really matches volunteer needs with volunteer placements. So you can go on to Volunteer Greater Fredericton and you can search for different volunteer opportunities that are available. They break it down by sector. You can look up by date, how long you want to volunteer. There's all sorts of different options available through that website. And I'll just leave you with a final quote, that volunteers are love in motion. And as somebody who coordinates volunteers and fundraising initiatives, that rings so true for me. My job is made that much easier by having volunteers come out and participate and give back, because otherwise we couldn't do it. We couldn't make those events happen. So huge thank you for everyone who has volunteered with us and will volunteer in the future.